Welcome to another episode of the Dreaded Archer podcast. I'm your host, Trey, also known as the Dreaded Archer, out here on these Instagram and Facebook and YouTube streets. Today, I got a special guest with me, my boy Rex Hayes. What's good, Rex?
What's up? How's it going? I'm live
Man,
from the Whirlpool studio, just hanging out, man.
heck yeah, man. I think you're going to start something new. I might have to get me a setup in my tub
I
and just kind of
know.
just chill, man.
I'm so happy we got a house with a jacuzzi, man. I didn't think I'd be using it as much as I do, but
You ever use, like, you got the jets and everything?
yeah, I got the jets, man. I don't turn. They get a little out of control, especially when you got a little bubble bath in there.
Yeah, the
Woof.
bubbles start getting
It gets
getting big.
wild, like putting Dawn in a dishwasher kind of thing. It gets a little hairy in here, but
Hey, man, like growing up, I used to use Dawn as a bubble bath, man.
did you?
It
Oh,
made it.
hey, I bet it
Hey,
bubbled up really well. If that's what you're going for, bubbles, I mean, that's all you need, you
oh,
know?
that's it. And then, like, fast forward like 10 years, and you start hearing people say, "If it can clean a duck, it can clean me."
Right? Yeah, you sitting there washing oil off of a duck and sitting here taking the most luxurious bubble baths, man. They keep your hands soft.
Oh, keep
Uh,
your hands soft, get all the oil out of your skin and
then
everything.
why?
You good
You
to
know
go.
what? We should buy Dawn for what are we doing?
Man,
Everything.
we lacking, man. We lacking.
No, they're just marketing to us, man. They just want us to buy everything. You gotta have a shampoo soap, gotta have a face soap, you gotta have all these special soaps. No, man, you just need Dawn.
Man, you
That's it.
get it all in one, man. Get it all in one with Dawn, man. You get the face soap, the conditioner, shampoo, body
All of it.
wash, all that, man. You get it all in one.
Anyway,
Oh
I
yeah.
knocked you off. I knocked you off your thing. Sorry.
Oh
Did you
no,
go
hey
through
man,
your spiel?
this is just a just a open conversation.
I
But
got you.
before we get started, like I said, this is the Dreaded Archer podcast. You guys can find me on Instagram at the Dreaded Archer. Yeah, the underscore Dreaded Archer 17. You can also find the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm on all the platforms. So if you get a chance, go subscribe to the pages so you can keep up with all my adventures and my hunting buddies. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So Rex, so what's good, man?
Man, nothing. It's middle of January. Everywhere is kind of dying down, in terms of hunting, and duck season's still going strong. I'm no longer going strong. Uh, it's it takes everything in me to get up and go and try and just to get your dick knocked down in the dirt, man. It's just tough. It's tough going this time of year.
Man,
There's
it's like why we even do it?
why do we yeah, it's that time of year where you start to question. You're like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
um,
Um, but we had a good morning. We didn't get skunked. I'll say that. We shot a wood duck, so that's all right. We got up. We didn't get up for nothing. We drove around. My dog had a good time. That's all that matters.
man, I think
Relatively dry.
just being out there, man,
Oh,
is
it's
good.
nice. It really is. I mean, you could. I mean, now I'm starting to. I don't know, man. Those beds start to feel pretty good, man. Get snuggled up. Oh, in that bed, pretty
Oh, yeah,
warm.
especially on them cold mornings, it's hard to get up out of bed, man. It's
It
hard.
is. It is. It is. I need new waders. Mine got whole. I just know if I get up, I'm going to get wet and cold. You know what I mean? And just
Yeah,
ride around in the wind for a little bit. But like you said, man, when you're in the moment and you get to shoot, every once in a while, you get to see some stuff and hear some stuff. Can't beat it. We walked by. I showed Alex where we found all those scrapes. So my mind's already turning for deer season. Already thinking about next year because I think. Well, we'll talk about it soon, but my resolutions have started to materialize. I've started to realize what I need to be focused on coming up, what I need to be doing. So
oh yeah, man. Even like before the season ended, like the second, third week of December, I'm sitting in the tree stand. I'm in the hunt, like hoping something come out, but my mind's already clicking. Like, all right, how am I gonna hunt this place next year? If I don't see anything, well, I didn't see anything that like those last couple times, so I just got out the stand and just walked around, hoping maybe I'll spook something up, but nothing.
yeah,
But I found a lot of trees. Like, this would be a good spot. A lot of game trails. So I'm like, this would be a good spot for a camera, a good
there you
place to
go.
put a stand. Start, putting it down on the Onyx map. So once all the snow melt and everything, go out and start, you know what I'm saying, developing that plan. But you talked about your, 2022 hunting resolution. So, what do you got?
Man, all right. So I made it. I tried to organize it. Try to go as early so I don't miss out because I think this is the year of like two things: slowing down and really hammering on some taking advantage of some local stuff. Right, I feel like I've been kind of all over the place, running around trying to do this, trying to do that. So, in a way, I'm kind of getting back focused down and just trying to hunt a little bit more purposefully, if that makes sense,
Right.
rather than like, oh, I want to go check out this WMA. Oh, I want to make sure I want to get up to the national forest. I have so many things that I wanted to do, and I spent so much time worrying about putting myself in a good position that when the time came, I'm like stuck with like this kind of I don't know, like a fear of making a bad decision. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
do I go to this WMA, or do I wait and just hunt the afternoon in a local spot close by? Or it's just like little things like that. That if I'm not that prepared, so I don't have a lot of spots. So when I find them, I typically hammer them pretty hard, and then I get burnt out real quick. So I think first on my list, turkey season, obviously. Felsenthal hunt last year
Oh man, it
was
was brutal, man. A lot,
tough.
lot of walking with our bows or not
Not a
bows,
lot
but
of
a lot of walking with our shotguns and
Oh, it was
just,
tough, man.
just hoping to see something, man.
Hear some anything, man. So the Felsenthal permit just opened up beginning of January. I'm gonna go ahead and put in for it because I mean, if they use the money wisely and they can kind of help work on the habitat, do something. I don't know what the money goes to. I like to think that they spend it on something good, but
Yeah,
regardless,
big bonuses.
yeah, right. Pocket change. I think I'm going to put in for that again. If these out of staters would stop getting it, you know what I mean? That's the real issue is these South Dakota residents that keep easing in there and getting these tags, man.
Hey,
Uh,
I paid my fair dues to Arkansas, man. They got a
you're
lot of
right.
tuition money from me
You're right. You need to cash in your hustle points. Um,
already.
no, I think so. I'm gonna put in for that. There's not a lot of water down there this year. I mean, the pool's still sitting at whatever it is, 75. It hasn't not a lot of rain. I don't know what March and them is gonna bring. I don't know how bad it's gonna be come springtime. Fingers crossed it doesn't. I mean, fingers crossed a lot of water doesn't go down there now. If I'm done with duck hunting, you know what I mean? Like it's not gonna
Yeah.
benefit me. Hopefully the water stays relatively low. Anyway, gonna put in for that. WMAs, I put in for Morrow Big Pine. That just opened up. I'm going to put in for Morrow Big Pine. It's close. It's like a 30-minute drive from the house.
Is
So I
that for
can knock that out.
Turkey as well?
Turkey. Yeah,
Yeah.
just turkey. And then I want to set aside a weekend, maybe a long weekend over the spring to go to the Washita National Forest and just hit it hard. Do some mountain hunting and like really dial in my backpack gear is really kind of what I'm hoping for. So that all is going to that's part of my resolution is boom, tackling turkey season, making sure I get my tags, and then follow up. I mean, between turkey season and August, September, nothing. I'm not doing, you know what I mean? Nothing. Just make sure
Yep.
we stay on top of our Western tags, Western applications, and then doing a lot of scouting. I think I'm going to commit to staying in either the National Wildlife Refuge and hunting there a lot, or that WMA. I'm gonna focus on two places, I guess essentially, and I'm gonna go scout the heck out of them. Leave a bunch of presets for my saddle setup that I got this year, and just really hammer that. I think is the idea because you got to kill a doe. So anyway, I'm just gonna try to kind of get ahead of that, man, because that's discouraging. It's discouraging to go out and not know what to do, not know where to go, not having any confidence in a spot.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
and I think that's my biggest problem is I don't have enough confidence in the places that I hunt, especially on public land. So in South Dakota we're split up. The state is divided. So you got the Missouri River and you got the West River side, East River side. So this year I actually decided I was going to hunt East River like hard.
And that's close to home, though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I live East River, so it's close to home, but there's not a lot of spots
Right.
to hunt. So East River, we got there's not a lot of spots close to where I live to hunt. So you got the
And what's
Newton.
close for you? Like, I want a perspective. I just want to hear
So
what
close to me is something like, and I break my days my hunts into like during the week and then on the weekends. So
right.
Monday through Thursday, a good hunt for me is if I can drive no more than an hour, get to a spot and get up in a tree right after work. So I get off at 5 o'clock. So
Yeah, or you
get
get in
home.
early, you get done early, whatever.
Yep,
You can kind of
exactly.
ease
So
out.
try to get in the woods by no later than 6 o'clock. During
Right.
early season, so I still got a lot of light left.
Yeah, before time change messes
Right.
everything up.
So get in early. So like I said, about no more than an hour and a half. Try to get in. So I did that this year, but I was so like West Rivers. That's where the big deer are. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's big deer everywhere,
Just
but in the state, the big deer
dreaming
are
of
at West
West
River.
River.
I'm dreaming of West River, so I'm like, you know what? I need to fill this tag, and then so I can start hunting West River.
Why do you got to fill that tag? Is there a time limit on that one, or
No, it's the same time limit. It goes from September 1st to January 1st.
you just feel like this impeding speed, like you got to get it done, like so you can
Right,
focus on West?
right. Because like
I got
during
you.
archery season, a lot of hunters they hunt over in Newton Hill. That's that's the archery capital on the East River side. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So my thing is, I don't hunt Newton Hill. I hunt over in Fairview, and I don't even know the name of the walking area. Like the sign is down, and it's just no one hunts there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's it's like almost deserted. So I've only seen like two other people out there, and they were both hunting for youth, with their kids. So you know what I'm saying. So
Right.
I
It's a
go
lot, not very pressured. You're saying.
no, not pressured at all. But I know that once rifle season starts, that area is gonna get pressured.
I
You
got
know
you.
what
So
I'm saying?
you're trying to get this done before rifle really kicks in and just
Yep,
blows the
I'm
whole
just trying to
place
get in
out.
and out.
I got you.
So I went out there a couple times and just I kept seeing the same doe over and over and over again. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take her. So I went out there, boom, there she was, boom, ended the hunt. And it was like, all right, now it's time to go to West River. But I didn't that's West River is 3.5 hours away. So that's driving out there every weekend, getting up at 4 in the morning,
Right.
on
Going on a
Saturday.
morning hunt. Yeah.
Yep, driving way out there. And even early season just scouting. I like days like I don't want to drive out there. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So I
It's a
don't go.
slog.
So I'm
Yeah.
just hoping to do a lot of scouting, and we all know it don't look the same once you put boots on the ground.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
Absolutely
So
not.
I go out there and I think I got a plan until I start walking. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like I don't have a plan.
Right.
So I'll get up in my climber, or either my climber, or I'll have some preset tree stands out there,
Right.
and I just sit, and I'm like, am I playing to win right? And just lack of education, you know what I'm
Y-
saying? Like
Well,
there's
yeah.
no plan into it.
Well, you're driving so far and you're looking at a computer screen. You get there. All right, now this is reality.
Yep.
And it's tough to get over that initial hump of being like discouraged and overthinking. You're just like, my God, like what am I doing? Because I promise, like I feel like I've like 9 out of 10 hunts are like that. And then me and Alex go to that one WMA for the first time ever. We drive the boat down. We don't know. We wait. We don't even get there and shooting light. Like we can't see. We don't want to walk into this area new with headlamps on. So we ease in there 30 minutes after shooting light, like we take our way easy way down the river. We're not going fast. We don't know the way and set up in a blind and both set up in the climber and both get a double. We pull a double and it's like days like those, you're like, what in the
Yeah.
world?
Why can't it always be this easy? You know what I'm
Yeah, or
saying?
like what happened? Like we literally, we spent more time just looking for a good tree. We didn't know where we were. We just looked for a good tree to put a climber in. That was it.
Right.
Like that's all we were doing. Not even really thinking about how's the wind playing? Where are we in a pinch point? Are we on an edge of something? Like, what are we doing, man? Like, no, we just went out and did it. And even to this day, I haven't been back. And that's something I need to do too, is like, now that the pressure's off, go back into these spots, just go walk them. And that's why I wish that we had, I mean, I guess you can go kill some pigs in some of these places, but like I just pick up squirrel hunting or something and go walk around. No pressure. Go walk with the dog, kill some squirrels, find some trees, mark some spots because the sign's all still there, right?
Right.
So like I think that's kind of my deer hunting resolution to prepare now while I'm thinking of it now. Because that's what I was showing Alex, some scrapes and rubs that I saw in there by that duck spot. Like it looks great in there. I need to throw some presets up there so that when I'm ready, if I want to go in there one evening, I have a plan A, B, C. Stuff falls through. It's like what, I haven't gone and sat in that spot. That was a good looking spot. I did the homework. The wind may, that's always going to change or do something crazy. But at least I know I've got a spot that I've looked at. I've got on a map. I can walk to it. I've walked to it before. So I think that's like just building confidence in some local setups. You know what I mean? That you can just go and do. But again, for you, these are my 45-minute drive, 10-minute
Right.
boat ride spots. These are not my, you're saying 3 hours. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
3 hours, then you get there, and the whole time I'm driving, I'm not thinking about, all right, what am I gonna do when I get there? I'm just hoping. I hope there's no one else in this spot.
Right, because then I mean, you have a plan B, but like it's not as steady even as your first one, and your first one wasn't, stellar.
No,
So
because like when it comes to West River hunting, I got I hunt private land, but I try not to hunt that so early because I don't want to put pressure on it because I got to hunt that both archery and rifle season. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
right,
leave that alone. That's like last resort type deal.
right,
Let's get this public land hunting first. And there's two spots over in by the Missouri River that it's kicked my ass time and time and time and time again. Like
yeah.
I've
And
hunted it. I bet you.
meaning what? You're just saying in your success?
Yeah, my success. Like, well, I'll go out there. Like, there's only been one time where I've actually shot at a deer. It was a doe, and I missed her, and it was just didn't range her. Just what? It looks about. I ranged a tree by her, and it was like 40 yards, and she was a little bit in front of the tree. I'd probably say about 10, 15 yards in front of the tree. So I'm like, it's probably about 32 yards, and I missed her low. So she was like
Right,
definitely further than I thought she was.
right,
And of course, spooked, they all took off.
right.
So, and then every time I've gone out in that spot, I walk in, I spook something up,
Yeah. And you're
or
getting in there late, or are you just getting in there at dark, or
I mean, I'm getting there at dark, but I've never put a camera out there, so I don't know where they're coming from, where they're bedding at,
right? You're
none of that.
walking
So
through.
like you said, I don't know. Like, I just know I need to get to this one spot because that's where I got my tree stand, and I got to get there. And in
Right.
the process, you got to walk by like two tree groves, and as I'm walking by, I hear them shooting out, running, yep, blowing me out.
Yep.
Or the spot where I have my tree is way too far from like the river, and I watch them come up out the river. Like last year, or this not last year, but this season, I saw a nice 8 point walk up out the river, and he just sitting there eating. I'm like, I need to get a stand over there.
Right.
And so then I go and put a stand over there, and what happens? This bastard is on the other side of the field. I'm like, I cannot win.
Yeah.
And then I get there, and I don't know if I want to hunt in the morning or do I want to hunt the afternoon. Like,
Right.
I just gotta do more education on this spot in order to have success. And
Right.
then
Yeah.
there's another spot that's like right on the Missouri River, and it's like a whole different type of terrain than anything I've ever hunted. So it's real bushy. So just walking, it's bushy and hilly. So walking through it, you're spooking deer. You can't find a good clearing, especially for archery. And it's like, well, it's a spot where you got to get there early and just sit all day. But
Right.
then,
Get set up. Yeah.
yep. And I mean, I think I walked that spot, probably walked in maybe a mile, maybe 2 miles, and just spooking deer left and right. Ton of doe, never saw any buck, but just just got to do better. Just more educate. I mean, just get more educated on that spot and actually have a plan. Because you know what they say: if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail, and
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing. So, my New Year's resolution for hunting is going to be to study these walk-in spots a lot more, find the pinch points, find where they're feeding at, find where they're bedding at, and just I don't like putting game cams on public land because they tend to grow legs and walk off.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
but
no
that's, I
doubt.
might have to go find some cheap cameras that I don't mind losing
Or
and stick
lock
them.
them up. Yeah, I've seen
Yep,
people chain them to trees and stuff. Like,
and just sticking them out there and hoping to see, saying what happens.
well, there goes your Boone and Crockett uh, deer right there. As soon as I'm
So,
gonna tell on you, bro.
so you just brought that topic up. So
A good segue. I felt
yeah,
like.
good, yeah, good segue, man. Hey, you learning this podcast stuff, man. so, so Boone and Crockett came out and said that any animal taken with what they call a smart scope or GPS enabled cameras, if you take an animal using any of that technology, you are not, your deer is automatically disqualified. Your trophy will not be scored for Boone and Crockett. You know, is that going to hurt the hunting game and the hunting industry?
um, Man, it's one state, and I don't know how prevalent. I think your eastern market is way bigger for trail cameras and stuff. Places where you can't spot and stalk, you can't do that kind of thing. You know what I mean? I think that's where if Arkansas came out and did it, there'd be, oh my God, it'd be rioting in the streets. I'm sure for some people, you know what I mean? It'd be awful. But I mean, I think for those western states, I'm curious to hear the use case that it's. I don't know. I'm trying to. I understand. I think I kind of understand it. The regular me and you buying. What is it? I mean, what do you think the base is for that? $300 to get set up, plus a plan, a subscription, or whatever.
We talking about the cameras.
Yeah, cameras. Like, what's the entry on that
All
kind of
right,
stuff?
so if you get the spy points or spy point, I think they are $100, and I think the plan is like $10 a month.
Right.
So right there, you're looking at if you get the camera in, what I'm saying, say February. So see February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. You're looking at what, $100, $100 a month. I mean, $100 for 10 months.
Right. But can you pay in 10 months, just month to month or whatever like that? Is
I
that what you
think
do?
you can pay month to month, or you can pay
A yearly
like
subscription?
like a year up front. You
I
know what I'm
don't know,
saying?
man. Well, I'm thinking me and you were chilling at the house. We're talking about it, confidence, getting out and going and checking these cameras, religiously. Um, you have to go into the hunting area to check these cameras. So you try to limit the number of times you do it. You let your camera soak for a little bit and you go look. You kind of slowly build confidence in your setup, and then you go. And even then it's a little delayed. You're patterning. You're like, okay, this guy's nocturnal, I'm not going to hunt. This guy's nocturnal, I'm not going to hunt. Oh, he's starting to show up a little in the morning, I think I'm going to go out there in the morning, you know what I mean, and go hunt in the morning. It's not always right. And what I mean is right, like correct, like it's, you don't know, it's just you're taking a chance on it. But uh, those cameras are instantaneous. I know my stepdad's got one. Hey, that pig's at the corn right now. It's just kind of a weird feeling to be able to know when an animal is at your spot that you bait. You know what I mean, or that you put
Right.
up. I just think it's a little strange. I don't know. And with Western hunting, think of that in the context of like a rifle hunt. You know what I mean? On a spot and stock animal, you put that camera somewhere. Boom, he's there that morning. He's going to go bed in the dark timber. A couple hundred yards away. He's got to cross this meadow. You just get out there and you're ready. You know what I mean? Like I
Yep.
could see that being an issue. Maybe not so much here because like I said, just because he's feeding there doesn't mean you can go jump in the stand all of a sudden.
Right. Well,
Um,
I think that's the issue, because what they were saying, what the board said was a hunter shouldn't be able to see a deer in real time and be able to plan a hunt based off where that deer is currently located. So
I mean that
basically, for an
that makes
example, the
sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
so like you see the deer, he's in front of your stand at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So you're at home, you get ready, and you make your way,
You ease into
and
your lane
and
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 you
and while you're going to the stand, you can constantly check that camera
right,
and see that he's there. So
right.
okay, he's there. All right, I'm 100 yards away from my stand, and it might be like a hill or something that's blocking you. So then you could easily creep up that hill, and if you got a rifle, all you gotta do is pop up on top
That's
of the hill.
toast.
You
Yeah.
see him there, game over.
Right.
So, I mean, I can see that, but my thing is, should the hunting industry, I mean not hunting industry, but should the hunting rules and bylaws, should it change as the technology continues to
Oh
advance?
yeah, absolutely. I think someone's got to step in eventually, right? Like I know they've done it with drones, which is kind of a similar case, really, using drones to scout and find game, not being legal, flying anything like that, using wheeled technology in wilderness areas, back in Colorado and all those western states. But yeah, I think so. I think you got to because they're trying to get ahead of like things like these electric bikes. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
who would have ever thought that something like that would have came about? You'd be able to use it. Thinking about like using trolling motors to sneak up on ducks. God, I wish I knew. I mean, man, me and you've been desperate. We've been
Right.
real desperate sometimes. You know what I mean? Like we would not be opposed to hiding on a boat and using a trolling motor to go sneak up on a ducks, and it would be easy. You know what I mean? Especially those floaters out there in Lake Columbia. Like
Right.
we could have slaughtered them, and I think they're just. I mean, yeah, you got to get ahead as things change, especially the auto scopes that tell you the range and stuff like that. It just makes it I think they're just trying to make it fair for the game, right? Like
Right.
I think they're advocates for whatever species. I mean, that's what Boone and Crockett is, right? I'm looking at their website because we say we kind of know what Boone and Crockett is, but
Yeah.
like they're what they stand for, right? And I think it's fair chase and conservation, just so that people can continue hunting. And I think if people get turned off by the idea of us getting so lethally good at it, I mean, it's kind of catch-22. They want us to be good in terms of like an ethical, legal, quick kill,
Right.
right? But at the same time, you don't want it to feel like it's a little unfair, right? Like sometimes I feel bad about being able to shoot a bow 40 yards. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem. It's interesting. And so you try to make it a little more tasteful for the general public, and you try to keep it fair for the animal because that animal's not they're not coming up with any kind of body armor or you know
No,
what I
no,
mean,
no,
like
not at all.
no advances in technology making them better. I mean, they just go nocturnal, you know what I mean. um and
But
if
when you,
that's Go ahead.
are we gonna know what you're gonna say?
No, I'm just saying if that's like an indicator of the amount of hunting pressure that we put on animals, I feel like we put a lot then. You know what I mean? If they're going nocturnal at every drop of the hat, was it always like that? Have they always just kind of gone nocturnal? Or is that something I'm just talking about whitetail, I guess, in general
Yeah.
out here east? Is that normal? Or is it because we disturb them so much trying to get in there and kill them? You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, see, I think it's the pressure,
yeah. And so,
because I think they realize like, all right, during they don't know time. They don't know 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. All
no,
they know is, basically maybe the position of the sun, the time of day, and they know, all right, during this time and this time, when it's bright outside, these these stinky things are walking through the woods and they scare the shit out of me. So,
yeah,
and I know when it's dark out, they're not around. So I'm just gonna
nothing's
wait
bothering
until,
me.
yeah, nothing's
Yeah.
bothering me. So I'm gonna wait until the sun go down and I'm gonna move around. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I
No,
think
I'm
I
with
think
you.
we're definitely putting the pressure on the deer, because I've noticed that, on my game cams, because I once I put my game cams up in, say, April, I don't touch those jokers until maybe, you know June, end of June, maybe middle of
Right.
July, just
You let
to
them
kind of,
soak.
I let them soak for a long time. And I notice I see a lot of, bucks, and they're still in velvet, and they're still, just kind of running around in the bachelor group. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's gonna be on and popping. And I noticed once I started going out and, managing the food plots and checking the cameras, regularly, then I started noticing I don't see them during the day. It's only at night. It's actually between, like, on the farm. Normally we start seeing bucks move at night, right around like 12:30 at night to about 5 in the morning, and then they dip out. We don't
Yeah.
see them anymore,
Yeah.
and it goes like that for a while, and then I'll let the camera soak for a while, and they'll start coming out during the day, and then once you start going back into the woods, they
Yeah.
start getting back
I,
nocturnal.
I mean, that's like, I guess, literally the entire thing about hunting any kind of deer cervid species is like finding a pattern. How do you find a pattern for these animals without disturbing them so much that you can't hunt them? You know what I mean? It's like you really do have
Exactly.
to be so surgical about when you do it, when you go in, when you try to go and kill something. You know what I mean? So,
And
uh,
I think the people that develop these, GPS cellular cameras, I don't think they intended for people to actually, like, all right, real time, there he is, I'm gonna go hunt. they probably developed it like, hey, this is going to keep you out the woods
Convenient.
more. Yeah, it's convenient. You don't have to go into the woods, you know, every 3 weeks to check your camera. You can just let it sit, and then you can create a pattern by looking at your photos and then go out and hunt.
Yeah,
They
but
didn't
we
think there would be guys that are looking at, all right, he's out there right now, I'm going.
right,
You know what I'm saying? And but with anything, people always gonna take advantage of the system. They're gonna take advantage of
right.
new technology. There's people out there like that. They don't care about the fair chase, anyways.
Yeah, I don't
They
think
just want they just want the bragging rights, and they want to get that animal down and put some meat in the freezer.
Euro amount, baby. That's all
Yep,
they're worried about.
euro amount. But with the smart scopes though,
Yeah, so smart scope is like an auto ranging, kind of moving your reticle for windage or just like elevation. Like I
man,
guess I don't know.
it does it all. So basically, it, the ones that I've looked at are the BDX by 6 Hour. So you got the rangefinder, which Bluetooths to your scope, and then you use your phone to put in all your ballistic information. So you
Oh,
know, your feet, what bullet. Basically, it used to be you had to put in, the feet per second your bullet is going to be traveling and all that. But now they have the brand. No, they have about every brand of bullet. You know,
already loaded,
already
preloaded
loaded
in
in the system.
there.
So, okay, you
Yeah,
use the Hornady Super Performance 145 grain. You click that, and it's already got all that information in.
yeah,
Then it hooks up to it's hooked up to your phone. So it uses the weather app to say, okay, the wind's coming from the west at 25 miles an hour. Well,
Whew.
once you range that animal, it boom, it says, all right, this animal's at 500 yards, and it gives you elevation, and then spits out some equation, boom, sends it to the scope, and then the scope does the holdover, puts the dot there, boom, and you aim and shoot. So
Nice.
somebody who's probably not comfortable taking a 200-yard shot,
Oh,
that scope,
yeah. I mean,
it says, it gives you all the confidence in the world that you're going to make an ethical kill.
right,
And it even goes, some of them even go out to 800 yards. So I mean, I
yeah. I
can
mean,
see where that was like, hey, this person normally wouldn't shoot 800 yards, but with this scope and rangefinder, they got no problem taking 800
right.
yards.
It kind of puts it in. It's kind of like what I guess what compounds did to like traditional, right? Like allowing just
Yeah,
anyone. I'm not. I'm not knocking compound hunters. I am. I can. We both hunt compound, but
right.
um, it allow. I mean, to hunt here, in eastern United States. I mean, you got 15 to 25 yard shots at the most. You know what I mean? So, it is not a thing to pick your bow up. I mean, embarrassingly, I'm sure some people do it maybe a couple days. You know what I mean? They get it out, dust it off, make sure the strings look good, wax them real quick, and shoot one time. I got a, I got a 5 inch group. I'm good to go technically. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like, it's so easy. So I guess, I mean, we haven't really put any kind of restriction on bow hunting, but you got people out there taking 100-yard shots and stuff you hear. That's the stuff you hear about. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You don't hear about those guys that spend a couple $1,000 to go to, out west and go on these dream elk hunts. And then, yeah, I mean, he's practicing out to 80, but man, that is, I mean, it sounds like a muzzleloader shot. You know what I mean? That's like the stuff that people, without a scope that you're doing with a muzzleloader. That's a pretty, you know what I mean? That's like a standard muzzleloading shot, I feel like.
Right.
Like,
And I think people that if you pushing it out to 80 and you got a nice mule deer buck that's at like 95, 100 yards, hell, I was shooting 80 last week.
I can hit a
So
balloon at 80.
exactly, I can hit a balloon at 80. So they'll take that 95, 100-yard shot.
I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm better than anyone else. If I was confident, you never know what you're going to do in those situations. So, but is that ethical? You know what I mean? It is bow season. It's pretty liberal. It's pretty like big. It's a long window. Lots of over the counter stuff for the Western hunt. Our Arkansas season goes from freaking October to February. Like it's a long season. But
Yeah.
granted, you're not taking 80-yard shots here. I mean, I think a 40-yard shot's long here. But um, at what point is it like too much? You know what I mean? Like I know they kind of put the hammer down on crossbows. Crossbows are kind of, oh, don't even get me started on your crossbow topic you got slated over here. My God, I don't even want to get into it. but we will. That's a good segue into the crossbow thing. But yeah, I mean that's another example. Point, shoot. Arkansas, they don't care. Crossbow is a bow. Bow's a crossbow. I could hunt October to February with it. And
Yeah, but
and
I mean, like like I'm terrified of crossbows. I've been at the archery range a couple times where guys come in and
don't know
like,
what they're doing.
well, the rule at Archery Outfitters is if you didn't buy your crossbow from them and they didn't set it up,
Don't come in
you
here.
can only shoot outside. You can't come shoot inside. But the
That's
people
fair.
but whoever for the guys that purchase their bows, at the range, they shoot inside. And when you're shooting, right next to somebody with a crossbow, and you hear that thing go off, wow, you like, God, dog, man, it's like it's too much.
Crazy. I
And
held
and I've watched YouTube videos where I seen a dude, he took a elk at 100 yards with a crossbow, no problem, dead right through the double heart, double lung kill, over with.
what was that? Was that guy like handicap, kind of like a handicap hunt? Not handicap hunt, but like an injury or something like that. I remember seeing like some kind of
No,
retired
no, not
firefighter,
at all. He was a well-bodied,
able-bodied
able-bodied
man.
man,
That's
and he
whack.
just for YouTube, he wanted to go out and show, hey, I'm gonna get an elk at 100 yards on my
Why?
crossbow.
Why is that why are we doing that? I mean, I feel like that should garner some attention somewhere, man. What are we doing?
Well, most
But
states, especially in the western areas, you can't use a crossbow unless you have
yeah,
some kind of
that must have
permit
been
from
on
the
a
state.
ranch or something, or I don't know maybe how easy it is to get a dang permit for some of that stuff. That's silly. I'm all for anyone that's got a shoulder issue, or you get up there in age, you can't pull some of those bows back. But
No, not at all.
I get that. I'm all for that, but set up a system where you got to get a permit. For the most part. I'm not saying a thorough health check, but like if you want to go get a crossbow and go bow hunt with it, I say go for it. But at the
Right,
same
and which is weird
time,
because they just had, a guy just broke he just took the spot for the number two biggest, whitetail ever taken in the world. Number two score, you know what I'm saying?
by
He
who?
took,
By whose? Is it a Boone and Crockett score? Is that what we're
yeah,
talking about? Or
Boone and Crockett score, and I had the
do they
guy's
have a
name.
class
No,
for
it goes
just
goes into the archery class. I mean, not archery class, but I mean it's just overall record. It's number two in the
just
world.
just biggest, huh?
Yep, biggest from Indiana. I think the guy's name was I'm not gonna say his name because I don't have it. I think it's Hayden Huff or something like that.
We probably don't need to say it anyway. We don't want to. Not that anybody's going to go cut him down or anything, but no shade. But we're just jealous. Honestly, that's all
Oh,
it is. Man,
Justin Huff.
we're just upset that he
Yeah, I
died to a
mean,
crossbow.
I'm not upset. I just think it's weird that you got Boone and Crockett saying like, "Hey, you can't use GPS cameras or smart scopes," but then you're allowing somebody to use a crossbow with a scope on it. And I mean, and if if his state allows it, I mean, by all means, he's in the rules.
Well,
But
if my state allows cell cams, like what's up? Why can't I use that? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
that's true because I mean, every state
But they
doesn't allow
allow
crossbows.
Boone and Crockett allows. I don't think they care about crossbows, I guess. But I wonder when the attention's going to kind of veer to that. But you know what I think it has a lot to do with is that who are the big players you were talking about in um, the cell camera market? Maybe they don't have a lot of weight to throw around. You know what I mean? I'm sure crossbow manufacturers are all eaten up by one of the big conglomerates,
Yeah,
hunting
I mean, you
equipment
got
conglomerates
I
that
think you
I'm
got Mission. They're big with crossbows. Raven.
hold on,
Um,
let's look up Raven crossbows.
'Cause I think Raven just made a crossbow that you can load two bolts. You can shoot one, and then if what you call it, you miss the first one, you can load up
My
the
God.
second one
If
is
you
already
miss
loaded up, and you can
you miss the first
go.
one, you ought to put it down. You ought to put it down, man. Who are they? I guess they may not be owned by anybody.
No, I think they're by themselves. I know Mission is owned by Matthews, so it's a branch of
Yeah.
Matthews. Um, there's another one, something 10,
Yeah. No,
but I
maybe they
mean,
got some weight to throw around. They won't allow too many people to get rid of crossbows. And maybe people don't see it as much as a threat. Not a threat. Maybe they don't think it's a big deal as we do, but or I do. I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but
No, I mean,
I have
my
I
thing
don't
is,
know, man. I just feel weird about crossbows.
I mean, it's just like anything. The technology has, you know, has advanced dramatically. You know what I'm saying? So before you had crossbows that they wasn't as fast. You know,
No.
now these crossbows is you basically shooting a rifle with a bow. I mean, a rifle that
What, your
shoots
0 to
arrows.
40 is the same dot. You know,
Yeah,
you're flat out to 40 or 30 or something crazy like that. Like pin doesn't
exactly.
change.
I mean, you might as well be shooting a rifle at that point. I mean, to me, shooting a crossbow is just the same as shooting a muzzleloader with a scope on it.
That's
You
a
know what I'm
whole
saying?
nother that's a whole nother thing.
It's if you're shooting a crossbow, if you're shooting a muzzleloader and you got a magnified scope on it, you might as well be, you know, what I mean, shooting just a regular
Modern
rifle.
ones, yeah. I mean, so
Yeah,
you got the sabot round is shaped just like a bullet. You've got the rifling in the bore. You know what I mean? You got a
yeah,
normal scope. It doesn't take you that much longer to load it. You know what I mean? Technically, you slam the bullet down in there because it has to be muzzle loading, but
right.
I don't know, man. I think that's I don't know. I'm afraid I'm going to hurt some people's feelings. Not that I'm acting like there are millions of people going to be on here backlash about muzzleloaders,
See,
but
we say that all of a sudden someone comes across this show and it goes viral, and it's, you know, I got people knocking on my door and
no,
knocking
I
on
don't.
your door,
I think we're good. We got a few years till that happens.
right?
We'll be all right.
But I mean, I don't know. Like I purchased a muzzle loader and I have a red dot on it, but that's because my state says I can use a red dot. But I don't think if they allow magnified scopes, I don't think I would put one on. Just the fact that the reason you muzzle load is to change up the pace of hunting.
Well, yeah, like not only like the pace of hunting, but like you get in. Oh, my bad.
Are you
in
good?
in western states, like you get a primo, you get primo time of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're in the heart of the rut for elk. You know what I mean? Like you get that. It's like two things coming together perfectly. Your ability to shoot out, what's an ethical range for a traditional muzzleloader? Like what would you say, 200
man.
yards, 100 yards?
Man, I said 100 yards.
100 yards, I feel like the same thing. 100 yards is like a probably out there for somebody, but they're in peak rut. They're coming in close, and you've got a gun that can shoot out to 100 yards pretty accurately, and you got to kind of practice it. They're setting you up for like this. That's why those tags are so premium.
Right.
And so, why go and make it even? I feel like they found the perfect balance a lot of the time in those states. Black powder rifle, flintlock, whatever, like old school Hawkins stuff, and then rewarding them with like the nicest part of the year in terms of elk hunting, like the ideal kind of scenario. So, and then, but you're still kind of affording that for some bow hunters. I know Colorado's overlaps a little bit. OTC anyway, if it's like
Right.
you can still hunt it, but at least I think, I don't know. But yeah, so now you have a bow can shoot out to 100 yards. You got your muzzleloader that can shoot out to 100 yards. Like, I don't know. It
It,
feels like there's too much overlap. There's a little too much overlap, man. I
yeah,
don't think
it's a lot of overlap.
a lot of overlap, man.
But like, you know, like I said, as technology advances, of course, you know, new things are going to come out. So is Boone and Crockett going to continue to go and continue to change their rules? And we're constantly going to always have these conversations about, you know, is technology outpacing, you know, the hunt industry?
I mean, as long as there's money to be made, they're going to be innovating. I mean, you got to keep bringing a bow out every year. You
Right.
got to figure something out, I guess. I mean, that's what they think. I mean, and that's up until, it is now. That's what sells. Like, I guess is just trying to come up with something new and marketing it to that next generation of hunter and trying to make them feel like what they're getting is like so much better than what was there last year. What you can get used off of Archery Talk classifieds, like I don't know. I feel like they're gonna until someone realizes, man, I don't have to buy a $1,200-$1,500 bow brand new when I could get the dude that bought it. You know, he's selling it used for $400 because he
Yep.
realized, man, I liked my Matthews Reason. I like my, like
The
my
switchback.
Switchback, my Bowtech 360, you know what I mean? Like lots of those old flagship bows that people just are like, man, that thing was deadly. Like, what
Yep.
am I doing? Why do I? why do I feel the need? But
I mean, I still hear people talk about the switchback. I mean, you talk about the switchback.
oh,
Your stepdad Ray talks about the switchback. I mean,
everyone does.
everybody talked about the switchback. And it was another bow that Matthews made that was that's solo
Solo
cam.
cam, yeah.
Um,
Creed or something, which
was
was
it
I think maybe Creed or
the Tri-X
Triax was one. Oh no, that was a binary cam. I think Triax was.
or the
Um,
Helix?
I don't
I
know.
can't remember. But people like to this day when I go to archery range, there are several guys there that they got their
Still
solo cam,
shooting.
and you cannot pay them to switch it up at
Yeah, that's
all.
right.
They refuse to.
Is you still see them selling for like half their value, which is insane because
Yep, they hold their value because
you're
they're
seeing
popular.
elites. You've seen elites for 20% of their MSRP. You're like, what? I can
Yep.
get this. This thing came out last year. I can get this thing for $400, and I can't get the switchback for less than $700. You know, like, God, dog, that's crazy. And I think people. I'd like to think that people. I don't know. You know, me and you don't. I mean, we just don't. I'm not going to spend that kind of money on a bow whenever that mission has done me right so many years, man.
Right.
I can't. Once you know that, once that secret is out, you're like, man, you don't really need anything really that crazy. And I think once we figure out that secret that all you need is a stick and a string, we'll never go back to compounds. But that's we still got a while, I think, until
Oh, you got a while to get people to put that compound down. I mean, even with me, I found myself almost falling into that, that trend because I was on Instagram and I saw Matthews. They had this like crazy promo, like November 16th. We got a
Coming
new
soon.
coming soon, new announcement. And I'm like, oh, what? I'm thinking, okay, what they gonna come out with now? Because the V3, I love it.
Yeah.
And then they come up with the V3X, and I'm like, I think I need that. And until I went to the archery shop,
Yep.
and they had it, and I was like looking at it, I'm like, this is the same,
That looks, yeah,
so
that's almost.
same bow, and they added a dovetail lock on it, so they have a special
So they can
sight.
change the accessories on you, man,
That's it.
and
You
make
can
you
change
pay
the
for more.
accessories, and then you can actually they have these hooks on the cam where you can actually change your cables in the field, like
Without
without using a bow press.
you just put a little, yeah. And there've been APA out of Canada. They've been doing that for a long time. Their bows are expensive as hell, but their whole bow easy. They give you a little bar, you pull it back, you slide that little pin in, boom, it locks your cam against your riser or locks your cam against your limbs,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do whatever you need to in the field. They got a little they've got um, a broadhead wrench that's built into it. They've got a limb hanger built onto the riser, so you can just hang it on a limb without having to have anything with you. It's crazy. It's kind of a cool deal, but those are expensive, dude. Those are like, but they don't change. That's the cool thing too, is that it looks like they've had the same models for a long time. They just kind of
See,
hawk the
I've never
same.
even heard of that brand before. So are they only out of Canada?
You stop there for a second. Can you hear me?
No, I was saying I've never heard of that brand before. So do they only sell in Canada, or can you find those bows in the States?
I think they have a few dealers here. APA, micro tuning. Yeah, they got this new. Oh, that's kind of cool. I've never even seen that before. Yeah, they got like a built-in. It's called Black Mamba. It's like their flagship. Let me look. I don't know who their dealers are, but yeah, man, they've been making the cam lock. Forget the bow press, micro tuning. They got something built onto their little cable slider that you can tune your cables with. But anyway, I mean, it's a pretty neat looking bow, but $1,500.
Ooh, I mean that's pretty steep.
But it's I'm almost positive it's the same specs, the same everything that's been there forever. They do it in all kinds of crazy colors. Like that's kind of, I'm not saying that a bow needs to cost necessarily $1,500, but a small boutique, not boutique, bow brand needs to make a little bit of money. I get that, but I love that they're just keeping it kind of simple. Got all the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
stuff.
yep.
They're not trying to
Keeping it.
tell me that they got the newest Black Mamba V 2.5. Like, I'm good. Thank you. in
Yeah,
the
I don't
same
know.
window,
I
and it's
wish
that good.
I wish the archery industry would just wait, like, you know what I'm saying? If you put out a bow in 2021, you know what I'm saying? Wait 2 or 3 years before you put out something else. And but I guess you can't because everybody is constantly racing to get the
Market
fastest
share,
bow out there and
whatever.
get
Yeah,
market share. And in my business or my career, market share is everything. So you can't
right.
wait for somebody else to come out with something and then try to jump in. If not, because they're going to capture the market share, and next thing you're second fiddle.
I'm about to go grab a water. I'm gonna put you on mute real quick and turn this camera off. Just give me 1 second.
Oh, cool, cool.
Eight.
Alrighty, while Rex is going to get some water, I'm gonna take the time to say, hey, if you guys are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other streaming service, make sure you go over to Instagram and like the Dreaded Archer page. I share pictures of my hunts, food that I've cooked up, that I've harvested in the field, and just basically take you guys on my adventure, my journey through hunting. As most of I've only been hunting for about 3 years. I've been archery hunting for two, and it's definitely become a big part of my life and who I am. Coming from the sports world where I played football at the Naval Academy and at Southern Arkansas University, and then once I graduated, like most athletes, you your identity is built into your sport, into what you do, and not playing football kind of put a dent, like, in my in who I am, and kind of went through this whole identity crisis where I didn't know who I am or what I should be doing. And surprisingly, what I'm saying, driving by an archery shop one day and went in, got a bow, just spare of the moment, and next thing you know, the Dreaded Archer is born. So when you get a chance, please go to the Instagram, the Facebook page. It's all the Dreaded Archer, and you'll see my ugly mug in the profile. Hit a like, share a comment. You know what I'm saying? I take all criticism, positive and negative. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we're all out trying to hunt and put some animals down. But before right before Rex took off, we're talking about bows, crossbows, and what's the difference? Should people be able to use crossbows hunting? In reality, I don't have a big issue with it. I just think
Yeah, you
people.
do. Yeah, you do. You got a huge issue with it, man. Don't friggin' play.
No, I don't have a huge issue with it. I just think if you're gonna knock people for using GPS scopes, or not GPS scopes but Bluetooth scopes, smart scopes,
We
then you
need to
should.
look in the mirror.
Yeah, huh?
We need to look in the mirror, man. There's some other stuff that's just like
Oh yeah, man. There's a ton of stuff out there where you like,
maybe
like,
the cell tech guys didn't pay their dues to Boone and Crockett like the crossbow brands did. You know what I mean? Maybe they didn't.
donate enough money.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, man. Who
Who knows?
knows?
We don't know.
Yeah, we have no clue, man. But we've been talking lately about the upcoming season and going out and hunt. And last year we had the privilege of going out to Colorado and doing some over the counter archery hunting for elk. So, like, for people listening, what are some good states that if they want to go elk hunt or pronghorn hunt or mule deer hunt, what are some good states where they can get some over the counter tags, or just value states for big game hunting?
I personally don't know, but that guy Randy Newberg put out that sweet video, kind
Man,
of
I was
like
watching that before we before we got on. I was listening
it.
to it.
It
He,
some
he
of
let
it.
you, he let you know up front. Grab some popcorn, grab something to drink, because we're gonna be here for a minute.
Yeah, he's a goofy guy, but I really like. I mean, his information, his videos were really good. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of eye opening. I think me and you kind of discovered that this year. Like it was only your first over the counter. I mean, you've hunted permit hunts before.
Right.
You've had unsuccessful times doing that, and on relatively easy to draw stuff, right? And then we went into this OTC together, and it's just like we had a chance. You know what I mean? And we made some mistakes where we may have put ourselves away from more opportunity, but in the same way, I think it made us realize together we were like, man, why aren't we putting in? Like we could. I mean, this is tough, and you could figure it out. But the most successful you're going to be, I don't think is going to compare to, you know, putting in for some points a few years in a state, and then one day getting like a even mid grade, even
Yeah,
what do they call it? Um, Not Reggie. What's mid grade? Some corn, like
corn. Yeah,
even corn level, a tag. You know what I mean? Like not necessarily like in a good state, in like a good unit, an okay unit, not so heavily pressured, where you're not dealing with so many factors, right? I mean, it's the way to go. And then looking at Randy's like video and seeing his idea of short term is 0 to 4 years.
right.
And I'm like, woof, man. I was thinking just OTC is short term to me. I don't even think that far ahead. I thought short was maybe 0 to 2 years, but it made me realize that, yeah, like we really need to, I mean, we're going to continue to do it because we enjoy it. We need to really look 5 to 10 years ahead, and like what are we going to be happy we did now looking, looking back and be like, man, I'm glad we sat down and we put in Wyoming, and got those points and we burned the points on that hunt. Like, I'm glad we did that, and had that opportunity, because otherwise, like, we're always going to be chasing, something better. And with point creep and all that stuff that you hear
Yeah,
them talk about, we got to just start. We got to start. We're already behind if we already think about it, but it's a positive thing. I don't think it's too negative. It kind of depressed me a little bit when I saw his chart, but I was like, you know what? No, that's nice though, to think that in maybe 5 years we could be on some freaking baller hunt. You know what I
I
mean?
know, man. Like when
Yeah.
I started, when I realized that South Dakota had elk tags, I thought, oh shoot, I would just put in, give me an elk, and ride out to the Black Hills and put me one down. But when I started talking to the guys at the range, it was like, hey, buddy, have you put how many points you got? I'm like, none. This is my first year putting in. I was like, well, you better start putting in every year because it's gonna take you 15, 20 years. And I'm like, what? Like 15 to 20 years, and it was like, or longer. I mean, there's been guys that, real talk, they've put in 30 years and hadn't sniffed a tag. And it's like,
Are you done with that?
goodness gracious.
Okay.
And then you got some people that they put in and they happen to get it in 2 or 3 years. So the draw system is wild here in South Dakota, especially when it comes to elk. And
You
you know what
tried
I'm
to
saying?
explain it to me, because it's not a true draw. In some ways, it's not a true, like, just straight up draw. There are preference points that kind of play into it, right?
Yeah,
But
definitely.
like you
So
said,
you know what I'm saying? So if you got, I mean, I guess it's a true draw because it happens rarely, but there's been people that put in their first year and they got a tag. And then you got guys that's got, let's say, 25, 30 years preference points and still putting in.
still looking
And if
for it.
if you miss a year, you lose your preference points.
That's it. You're
You
toast.
got to start over again, which to
Wow.
me, I think is shitty because if I paid money for those points, regardless if I,
Keep them.
yeah, I should keep them regardless if I put in the year
Lost your
after or whatever.
job or something, or
Yeah,
something
if I
crazy
miss,
happened.
I go to jail or some shit. Hey, I bought those points. I bought them.
Hey, I don't fault anybody for going to jail and wanting their preference points. I respect it. You're not getting back into the trouble they got you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you
Right.
didn't get in trouble going and hunting, or you may have, but I was talking about the elk odds. Okay, I will. Um, the I checked on AGFC, Arkansas's Game and Fish Commission, just to look at last year's elk tags. And typically, what happens is they take all but I think it's 4 or 3 tags, and they get allocated, randomly drawn, computerized. Boom. Out of that, there are 3 left that then they take to the festival, this elk festival they have in Harrison. We used to live in, or Jasper or Harrison. Anyway, somewhere in North Arkansas. You go to the festival. If you're in attendance, you can put in for the tag there, and that's though out of those people that go to the festival, that's who gets drawn out of that. And honestly, I think your odds are better going to the festival and trying to draw for the 3 odds because of the first bit you get, there are 4,547 applicants for 20
Good gracious.
tags, 0.4%, 0.4% every year. Crazy, absolutely crazy. And then with I don't know how many tags they're going to allocate this year because I think CWD did a number on a few of them. And then plus on top of that, landowners, if you're in the elk management unit, I think you buy a $25 tag, and if there's an elk, you're allowed one. I don't know if it's either sex or maybe a cat. I think they're just it's different ones. You got to call for a quota. I think they have
Right.
an antlered quota. If they haven't filled their antlered quota, you can go kill a bull, um, and you just pay $25. If you got them on your land, you go kill them. That's it. And yet there's 4,000, almost 4,500 people that are vying for 20 tags every year. It'll probably never happen. My dad's put in it for me for a while. My dad's put in it a few times, and there's no preference point, so it doesn't matter. It's just like lottery. So,
Man, like I didn't even know Arkansas had elk. I mean, I've
mm,
lived down there my whole life and never once knew anybody or heard of anybody killing an elk. And then once I started getting into hunting and I started looking through, brochures, like, wait a minute, Arkansas got elk tags? But like I said, I've never even thought about even applying for one or anything like that. It's just the odds,
um,
the odds intimidate me because whenever I see like a state that
yeah,
like the odds are just like, you know, crazy, I'm like, I don't even waste my time. I'm just gonna go pay and go elk
yeah,
hunt or something like that.
right. It makes you feel like Randy forgot to put one in. Um, he was like, "Man, I forgot. I even forgot a state," and you're about to find out why. Well, it was it New Mexico or something?
It was
I
Nevada.
think it was New Mexico. Nevada, that's right. It was Nevada. And he was just like, yeah, man, I didn't put it out there because, I mean, there's nothing beyond 10 years.
Yeah,
You're talking about lifetime. You're talking about, he was saying, what would he say? In an old folks' home, like you do it young in hopes of getting it before you get too old to do it. Like,
yeah.
that's it's crazy. That's crazy.
I mean that
But
happened here in South Dakota. I was on Facebook on the little West River Hunting group, and there was a guy. He was like 85 or 86 years old, and he's just sitting there with this shit grin on his face because he just killed this nice ass bull. And it took, I think the captain said it took like it was his son and his grandson and his daughter and her kids. It's like, damn, man, he had the whole family to get his to get him out there to get the elk, but it's a once
yeah,
in a lifetime tag. Like, bruh,
that's crazy.
I'm putting in since I was 22 years old. I finally got it when I'm 86. I'd be damned if I don't go and get that hunt.
Man,
Push me out there in the chair, man.
I think we talked about it. You pull me out there and I die. Y'all better shoot that thing and just tell me, yeah, man, he had a heart attack after it happened. Like that, that an animal better get down. Is all I'm saying, dude.
Exactly, man.
I'd be sick to my stomach to know that it went to a waste.
Right. But
Oh
like,
man.
do you think that like states that have, and I want to look this up because I would love to see if there's a trend, but states that have like crazy draw odds, do you think they have like a high rate of CWD?
Mm, maybe I don't think so because I mean a lot of it has to do with the population. Well, a combination of things, but it's limited because there's not as many elk. Colorado's got the most, and I think they have the most. I mean, they were the leading state in terms of all the research because they got affected so badly because there's so many cases. I think Colorado is one of them, but they've got the most liberal, the most over the counter, um, short term options of elk hunting out of all the states. I think it's population density. I think well, it's new. You know what I mean? It just kind of migrated down. I don't know where it came
Right.
from, what started it, but for whatever reason, now that they're close together, it becomes easier for it to spread. So they've been dealing with it, and you see it every year. Like it starts trickling down more and more states on that map. They're showing percentages and mandatory checks in some places, and I mean, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Like I know in the west side of the state here, dude, it's bad. I mean, there's people that had game cams out and you could just see like bucks walk by and they're just their heads like shaking and they're tongues hanging out. It's
Zombie.
like what in the hell is going on? And this one
It's a
guy, which
crazy disease.
I'm pretty sure this dude could sell this footage for hundreds of thousands of dollars, but you actually watch this buck in front of his camera just like wick. I mean, he starts shaking, falls on the ground, starts rolling around, and then just dies. You know what I mean? It's like,
It was a wrap. Man,
yep.
that's cool. And they say it
And
can't be heat killed. It's not. It's something that it can the prions or preon whatever the protein is that does it, like will stay in the environment for a long time. So like they talk about people supplemental feeding can affect it. It can be in the ground for years after like you have a salt lick, like
right.
it can stay in that salt lick for years supposedly, and you can transmit it to deer for so long. It's kind of crazy. It's a
So
crazy
I
disease.
think that's why most states are going away from like the feeders and stuff like that. Because South Dakota, you can't hunt over feeders, but you can have feeders out. You know what I'm saying? But once you start hunting, you got to
Mhm.
remove them. But I
I didn't know
mean,
that. Even on private.
even on private, yep. But
Huh.
I mean, it is what it is. But
You'd have riots in the streets out here, man. People would
say
be
what?
people would be burning stuff down out here in Arkansas. But you know that feeder, no feeder. What? No corn? What?
But it's weird to
Deering
me because
season?
like, what's the difference between putting a bag of corn out and growing corn and hunting over it?
Time and effort. You know that. I could go to any gas station within 10 minutes from my house and grab a bag of corn. Easy. Convenience, man. Like somebody's not going to take the time to go make a food plot and put corn out and all that other stuff. It's just convenience, and we've been doing it so long. Industry's kind of been to that, and they like make fancy feeders now, and you know what I mean. Like it's crazy.
Well, I mean, as far as like from like the law side of it, like why would it like a state says you can't put out a feeder and put corn in it. We don't allow that. But if you grow the corn or grow the clover or soybeans,
It's
then by
allowed.
all means it's allowed. It's like it's the same thing. I'm still baiting the deer. They're still
Trying to
coming in to eat.
keep the poor people out, man. Trying to keep us
That's it.
down.
I mean, I think it'd be cheaper to put a food plot out because I mean, all you gotta do is go out, till the ground up. I mean, if you don't have the money to have like a tractor or any of
Bro,
that, you can use
I'll be
hand
out there
tools.
for weeks, man. Just
You'd be out there with a hoe and just sit there and just break the ground up, whatever, or get you a find somebody with a horse or something and
tiller.
pull a
Oh,
plow.
an ox, yeah, or I'll do it. I'll put the yoke on me, man. Just start getting after
Just getting the pulling and then throw some seed out and hope it rain and let it grow.
it. I like that, man. You're right. We should. That's. I'm gonna try it this year.
Man,
Hand
it's backbreaking. I did it
hand
1 year
plant.
with just hand tools, man, and I was
Did
like,
you? Oh, gee,
never again, man. Bro,
not
I
a
think
young man's game.
I literally did a 25 by 50-yard strip and looked back and was like, this is stupid.
What am I doing? Did you
And
kill
then
anything over that?
nothing, nope. Nothing grew. Like man, I threw the seed down, didn't shit grow but weeds. And I was like,
Mm.
you know what? I ain't never doing this shit again.
You just answered your question, man. You answered your question right there. Why people don't do it. That's why. Silly. I can buy it in a bag. Um,
Man, it's just a huge. I don't know. To me, the hunt industry with all the seeds and food plot stuff, man, I don't think a lot of that shit work.
you think it's
Like
just a
I've had more success going to a seed store buying seed than I have going to like a big box store and buying a prepackaged, like
antler crack?
yeah, antler crack, a 7 card stud. It's got your winter wheat and your soybeans and that shit don't ever grow. But if I go to the feed shop, get a bag of soybean seeds, throw them hoes out, pew, they
Well,
grow
that's
up.
because that comes in a brown bag. It needs to be in a black bag, a slick, silvery black bag with all this crazy font on it. Antler Max, like just some whack marketing stuff gets people. We're gullible. I think hunters are just we're gullible,
Dude,
man. We
I'm
like
like, it give me because I look at the bag and I see this nice 13-point buck. Like, oh no, this deer was 2 years old. They show a picture when he was like, a little spike. And then, after a year of eating, this, honey hole clover, he grew to this. I'm like, man, bullshit. If that's the case, y'all should have none of this shit on the shelf. This should be sold out year round.
Yeah, well, what it is they take all those brown bags, they mix them up together, and then they put it in the fancy black bag, and then boom, there you go. That's all it is. That's the only
Man.
difference.
So, question for you. So, do you
Okay.
believe in a spike is always a spike?
No, you show me that video. No, yeah, and I mean, I haven't always agreed that. I know people that do think that though. Like I growing up, like that's what that's why you got to kill a spike when you're it's just a spike. Like it's not the the potential's not there. They don't have the genetics or whatever. And I think genetics plays into it. But the reason why a deer is a spike that first year really doesn't have a lot to do with anything. But you said nutrition, what's available to them, in terms of post rut, all that goodness. So, um, yeah,
Yeah,
my dad would disagree though. I need to tell him as soon. We need to have that talk.
it's weird because like like we wouldn't do that with people. Like you see a kid and he's like between ages of you know 4 and 8, he just
Sure,
puny.
we
He's like
do.
shit.
Sure, we do.
He's a runt. Knock him down. Well, get rid of him. No,
Get
you feed
oh
that kid.
no, we're not. We don't get rid of them. We try to help those children.
No, you
Yeah,
don't. You don't write him off and say
you don't kill them.
yeah. You don't not kill him, but you don't write him like he'll never be a stud athlete. Give him
No,
some
you're right.
time. Let him get a good diet and what you call a good
Hit
routine, good workout
puberty.
routine.
Yeah.
In a couple years, that Joker neck swole up, thick neck. He
Yeah,
ready to
man.
go, man.
Yeah, we
But I don't
definitely.
know why we don't do that with deer. Like, hey, at 2 years old, he's a spike. Give him some time. Let him make it. And
Yeah.
I'm. It's hard for me because like when I go in the woods, I see a deer, I just want to knock it down. But I'm I'm slowly trying to train myself to
Right.
let these 2 and 3 year old
Well, you
deer
well, you
let
got a
them make
place
it.
where that's possible too. Like I feel like the sentiment around public land is like, oh, that's a good deer for public land. Like, but why is that? Is that because the general attitude is we need to knock anything down legal? You know what I mean? Like, oh, if
Yeah,
it's a little basket 8, people are crapping their pants. Oh, public land 8. Like I think all those deer have that capability to get up there. It's just if they can grow into that age where they get like that.
right.
Um, and we
Yeah, I
don't have
mean,
anything really other than like killing a doe first in some of those places or drawing. Right? There's not a lot of that in Arkansas um, that manage that way, so you don't really see a ton of really giant ones. You know what I mean? They're hard to come by. But you're in a place where you can kind of get to manage it really. So I'd be happy to see what have you let walk. Have you let some walk this year?
yeah. So I actually got a video. I was up in one of my stands, and there was probably 4x4. You know, not really. I mean, not quite wide outside the ears, but definitely tall. And
Right,
he was
but young.
just chasing doe, and just that was the first time I ever heard a deer grunt. Just uh, uh. And that kind of, and this will be another topic, but listening to him grunt, I'm like,
Should
this is
should you have let that one walk, Trey? I know you can't see it, can you?
no, I can't see him.
This is the one you killed. You sent me a picture of that little.
No, but he was hurt.
No, he
He
was he
he
was
was
hurt,
hurt.
man.
He was limping. I'm like, I'm not gonna let him. I ain't letting
Oh,
him
that's
make it.
so nice. That's so nice of you, Trey.
He had something wrong with his foot.
Uh-huh. He wasn't gonna make it. You're right. He looked
Nope.
pretty damn healthy to me.
You
Nice
should
and
saw that. You
nice
should
and
saw that.
young.
You should saw that foot.
I didn't, man. I just saw the back strap. That's all.
But
Uh,
but like
but you let someone walk. You're saying you let
yeah,
some go.
I've let some walk in, and it took me everything not to just to pick that bow up and just let it fly.
Smoke them.
You know what I'm saying? Because like
Yeah.
I understand when people say on public land you get what you get. You know what I'm saying? Because it's public. You don't have no control over it. But I mean, I think if everybody had that mentality, like, look, I'm going to let
They
these young deer
do.
walk.
That's why. Oh yeah, if everyone had the good mentality. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, the
with you.
good mentality, like I'm going to
I'm
let it
with you.
walk
Yeah.
because what I hate hearing is people say, "No, there ain't no big deer here," and then you see pictures and they got these little spikes or and they're
The moment
like,
they see
"What?"
it, the moment, oh, they want to, they got to kill to their $2 every year. They got to kill their $2 every year. And I
Yep.
mean,
And sometimes
you may
just
not. You may
what,
not.
dude. I mean, if you got 5 tags, I know you want to feel 5 tags. I know I've been there. Sometimes you just might get one. You might get one. You might just get two.
Yeah.
But you don't gotta feel all 5 because you're not going. No hunter is going to kill 5 mature bucks in a season. If you do, if you're a guy out there and you kill 5, but you kill 5 big bucks every year, hey, bless you. But for the
Bless
average hunter, you're not going to kill 5 mature bucks every year. You're just
you.
not going
You're
to.
not going to kill. You're not going to kill one a year. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like the mentality is just not there, and I don't think you're going to see it. You just uh, during the rut, I guess you get luck of the draw if they're traveling a lot. You know what I mean? The one comes up out of the woodwork that's been hiding. You know what dragged him out? He was chasing, and you got lucky. I mean, I think that's how most of it happens. And then I guess it's just that it's like how many can you that are tucked away. You know what I mean? But again, if you don't let them get up out of that 2 3 year stage, but again, I'm talking from a place of I've killed a button buck and I've killed a little six with a rifle one time, button buck with a bow. I just don't have the experience, and again, I can't say if tomorrow if I went and sat on the stand and a little 8 point walked out. You got that? It's that mentality. Like, man, if I don't kill him,
Somebody else will.
oh
And my
man,
thing is, I got buddies up here and they're like, "Hey, do you know the age of deer?" I don't care what the deer's age is. I'm
I
gonna be
don't.
real. If he's big, I'm knocking him down. That's all I know. And I have guys like, man, if you can't age a deer, man, you got to figure that out. Everything happens so fast, because you
I
could be sitting there and there's no deer. All of a sudden, this bad boy comes walking up and he's 3 by 3. He looks big in mass. I don't got time to look at his brisket to see how low it hangs. No, I'm like, he looks
or
old
do
enough
you?
to me.
What do they
I'm,
do?
huh?
How do they? I mean, how do they do it then?
They wait. They look at the brisket. Okay, it's hanging down. He might be 4 or 5, and they go off their gut. But in all honesty, we don't know unless you send the teeth in or I think it's the jaw or whatever. Unless you send that in, you're not gonna know that deer's official age.
Well, maybe we. I mean, I think that just comes. I mean, that sounds like South Dakota kind of hunting culture, right? Like we don't. I don't think we have anything like that really built in. At least not. I mean, not regionally. Like I don't hear that a lot in hunting circles. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you said, I hear a lot of that. We just don't have big deer around here. Like just not taking, I guess, that management approach. Like no, we can manage these deer if we put something in place. But again, I'm a public land guy. I don't have anything really to myself that I can just go out and and help manage. So it's hard for me to say what people should be doing with their leases. You know what I mean? At the same time,
right.
but I don't
But I
know.
mean, even then, if your neighbors don't follow that rule, then how? It's like if you got a farm and you got a
There's
guy
got
to
to
the
be a
east of you, huh?
go ahead. Go ahead.
Listen, if you got a farm and you got a guy to the east of you and you got a guy to the west of you, say y'all don't talk, you don't talk to your neighbors. So you're saying on my farm, if your buddies come hunt, hey, we don't kill deer. That's if they don't have a 8 inch spread outside the ears. That's your rule on your property. If they don't have 6 or more points, don't knock them down. All right, cool. But your neighbors don't give a shit. So you might
Yeah.
let this buck walk by 6 point and might be a little bit outside the ears. You say, well, we're not gonna shoot him. And he walks over to your buddy's land. That's he done. You just let that deer. Now somebody else has shot him.
Those boys must have been from Texarkana shooting that much.
Hey man,
The
we get it how we live, man.
Hey, no, I get you. The Well, I think that's what you see in Texas, right? Like you got these guys that have ranches where they're able to affect the population in a way where they can do that. You know what I mean? Like, so if you don't have enough land, or if it's not a cultural thing, it's
Yeah.
like South Arkansas. Only take a let's change the buck requirements. Like let's give some education about aging deer and go out there and maybe only allow one. Make sure it's a mature deer. But again, I mean, it's how do you change a culture like that? It's just kind of tough.
Right.
But there's some big
It's
ones out
hard.
there, man. There are big ones out there, man. Alex's grandpa, man, they got some bangers in there in his garage, dude.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
some deer you would not, you'd be like, you killed that down there. He killed that down the road like that, like a couple years in a row. Like that's just crazy to me to think that it used to be like that. But
But I think that comes with, what I'm saying, and kind of going to circle back, that comes with advanced technology. When you look at, there's this Instagram page, it's called like Old School Hunting, and they got photos from like
I follow them.
the
Yeah,
1960s,
black and
1950s,
whites.
black and
Yeah,
white pictures, and you see these massive ass deer, and not just one. You see like six guys sitting next to an old, Chevy pickup, smoking a cigar, and everybody then killed a nice, look like, between 8 and 12 point deer.
yeah,
Everybody got one. But I think back then people weren't knocking down deer like this on a regular basis. I mean, now
right.
you can go to just any processing spot and just hang out for the day, and you'll see 10, 15, 20 big ass deer come through.
Yeah.
And I think there's more people are hunting now, and
Well,
for sport.
and they're also being kind of managed along with. I mean, Arkansas. It feels like anyway. 6 deer. Yeah, you get 6 deer tags, man. That's our whitetail population must be wild, or we're trying to account for like um, road accidents or like people in suburbs that want to kill deer because they're eating their garden. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
just like we're kind of encroaching and we're just I don't know, man. It's just crazy to think that we're allowed to kill 6 deer. That's so much. I feel like I don't know.
And I wonder what would happen. I mean, I think they're banking that everybody's not going to feel their tag, but I would be a person like, what would happen if
Definitely
everybody in the state this year feel their tags?
not.
Like, what would that do to the population? Like, it's a 1 in a million odds that it would happen. But if it did, what would happen to the population of the deer the next year? It'd be devastated.
No clue. No clue.
I guess you, I guess you'd have to
I,
figure out like what's the actual herd number, which to me, I don't know. I don't understand how they figure out the size of a herd
I think they
in
do
an
with the elk
area.
because of aerial. I mean, you can spot elk pretty. I think in terms of a big ungulate like an elk, I think you can kind of get a pretty accurate reading just from counting. And Arkansas, you're never going to know how many deer in Arkansas. You can only make estimates for sure.
Yeah, because it's
It's
so
not
thick. You can, if you
you
pull a
can't
drone over, you wouldn't
visually.
you wouldn't see anyways.
No, not at all. Um, but anyway, man, I got to get off and get to dinner. I hate to cut it. I didn't
No,
mean to.
hey, I was just about to wrap it up because I got to go eat
Oh man,
myself. I've
hey,
been
take your
working
time
out,
and
so I've been
you got to bulk up,
burning
baby.
100 calories, man.
Well,
I think.
take it. Do your outro. So I'm not in a rush. I was just saying, like here in a bit, I gotta dip. So you just take it however you were about to take it.
Oh no, how wrap it up is, hey
Action.
man, Rex. I appreciate your time. Hey, it's still learning process. I don't even have a intro or outro video for the podcast yet. Over the read, talk, and listen, we kind of moving at a fast pace. We got the theme song and all that, but over
We're
here is
figuring it
just,
we're figuring it as we go, man. You
I'm
got it.
telling you, the Dread Archer podcast is just like my hunting. I'm figuring out as I go.
Hey, right? I don't know if you can hear the. I don't know if you can hear my AT&T play a little song, a little music in here for the outro, but I couldn't find anything. So next time,
No,
or you could play it like if you edited it, you could add it in right now.
no, like I have like a what you call it. I got this soundboard, and I can just play music through my phone and play on the
Oh,
soundboard. But on YouTube, if you play music, then they copyright strike you, and boom, you get like.
you got any
Let me
cool
give you
sound effects on there?
like. You are now tuned in to the RTL podcast. Like that's for the RTL. I
That's
got
cool.
the
Yeah, why haven't we been using that, man? Oh, I got to
But
see this
I
film.
got to program some stuff in for the this podcast. But me and Nick had a timer that we downloaded that came with the we had this thing on it's called Canva. You know what I'm saying? You can make little intros and outros. So it had music that was supposed to be copyright free. So we played the timer and then we played the outro. Do you know that the dude that had that I guess that conducted the music for the outro copyright striked us and he got 12 cents from YouTube
Because you use it.
because we used it. Yeah, so
Did
it gave
did
him
they
12
charge
cents.
you? Did they charge you 12 cents?
No, that was the money that we made on.
Oh,
That's the money we made on the views. So instead of us getting that check, he got the check. So we used it for like 5 shows. So he ended up getting like a total of like I think it was like $5 and like 32 cents when we added it up. I'm like, he really went after us for $5 and like 72 cents.
hey man, a dollar here, a dollar there. You did it to
But
everybody.
so we try to stick to music that we can get the rights to before we start playing anything. Because I would have loved that 572. It's a can of Grizzly.
It's a can of grizzly. Exactly.
Wait,
Exactly.
what back then it was a can of Grizzly. Now it's kind of went up a little bit, like $6 and change. But this is another episode of the Dreaded Archer podcast. Got my guest here, Rex. You know what I'm saying? And for everybody listening, if you're on Apple Podcasts, you're on Spotify, go over to the Dreaded Archer Instagram where you'll see my hunting journey along with all my friends that I've met along the way, and stay updated as to what I got going on. And if you come across the show and you want to hop on as a guest, hit me in the inbox on the Instagram. I would love to have everybody on. We can talk about anything, hunting, cooking, archery, shooting, whatever. Just if you want to hop on the show and share your 2 cents, feel free. But until next time, man. All right, later, bro.
See you, bud.
Peace.